welcome to the third lesson of business for grade 11. My name is Dilip. In this video, I'm going to explain you about business objectives. Aims and objectives. Quite interchangeably, students may use these two terms confusing. So, a lot of questions are asked frequently about the difference between aims and objectives. In short, we can say aims are long-term goals, whereas objectives are short-term targets. To make it more clear, let's go to an example. Let's think in the perspective of an individual rather than a business. Say, for example, an aim of a person could be to become a successful entrepreneur. Now, that aim is achieved in the long run, whereas an objective could be short-run targets that has to be fulfilled in order to achieve your long-run aims. Say, for example, to achieve this particular aim, one have to successfully complete his studies on business. Say, for example, your aim is to become a successful entrepreneur. An objective could be to complete your A-level in business by the end of 2020 with minimum 80% marks, joining a business bachelor degree, completing it by another 3 years, joining a firm for an experience, gaining enough experience and a savings in order to set up a business. So a lot of objectives are set in order to fulfill your aim. So from these examples, you might be understood what is an aim and what is an objective. So in short, we can say aims are long-term goals, whereas objectives are short-run targets in order to achieve the aims. Now let's move on to the slide. The aims of a business are what the business wants to achieve in the long term. Aims tend to be general, for example, to be the best in the market or to be the market leader. So these are some of the possible aims of a business. As I told you the example, to become a successful entrepreneur, which can be achieved in the long run, and it is not very specific, it is a general statement. It's not clear how you are going to achieve, when you are going to achieve. These questions are still there. So it is just a general statement. Now, whereas objectives of a business are the goals or targets that need to be met in order to achieve an aim. For example, a business might aim to grow and set annual sales targets as objective to help achieve it. So one aim could be to grow, but to achieve that aim, the business could set some targets or some objectives. Say, for example, achieving the sales 20% high by the end of 2021. So such targets can be set, which is called as the objectives. Now we'll look into certain objectives that businesses usually set. Before that, we will move on to the needs for setting up the business. The first one, employees need something to work towards. Objectives motivate people. For example, sales staff might get bonuses if they reach certain sales targets. Now, this is one purpose why businesses set objectives. By setting up an objective, employees will be motivated to achieve that. Say, for example, achieve 30% increase in the sales. When this objective is set, the sales employees will be motivated to achieve that 30%, because maybe by achieving the target, they will be given an incentive. So to achieve that, they will work towards. So this could motivate employees. Without objectives, owners might not have the motivation to keep the business going. Owners might lose control and allow their business to become passive and aimless. This could result in business failure. So it not only motivate the employees, it could motivate the owners as well. So without having a proper objective, the business may not achieve its aims, so it can go to a failure. Objectives help owners decide where to take a business and what steps are necessary to get there. For example, if a business aims to grow by 10%, it might decide that launching products overseas would be best way to achieve this. So, if we have something to achieve, then it's easy to find a route map to achieve that. That means, say for example, in this slide it is given, if a business aims to grow by 10%, it might decide that launching products overseas would be best way to achieve this. So by setting up an objective, we can set the strategies to achieve that. So in order to set the strategies, objectives are helpful. Smart objectives. It would be always better if the objectives are smart. Now, what do you mean by a smart objective? S stands for specific, stating clearly what is trying to be achieved. So, as I already told you, objectives are specific, unlike aims. M stands for measurable, can be measured quantitatively. Achievable, if the business works towards that, surely it can be achieved. Realistic, able to be achieved given the resources available. Time specific, or we can say time bound, have a stated time by which they should be achieved. Now let's move on to an example of a smart objective. Increase sales turnover by 8% in the next 12 months. It's a very specific statement which meet all the SMART criteria. Say for example, it is very specific, clearly stated what is trying to be achieved. That is 8% increase in the sales turnover. It is measurable. It's given 8% there, which can be quantitatively measured. Achievable. If the sales team work towards that, it can be achievable. Realistic. All the necessary resources would be provided for that. Time specific. The next 12 months, very clearly the time is specified. Within the next 12 months, the sales turnover should increase by 8%. So this particular objective meet all the SMART criteria. So this is how an objective should be. Moving on to some of the business objectives, some examples of business objectives. First one, survival. Now some businesses, mostly at the initial stage, when a business startup, their objective would be to survive in the market, because there will be already established businesses in the market. So it's difficult to generate a huge profit at the initial stage. So profit maximization may not be their objective when they enter into a market or setting up a new business. Rather, their objective would be to survive in the industry for 2 to 3 years. From time to time, survival can become the most important objective. For example, when a business first starts trading, it may be particularly at risk, as it often takes time for people to recognize the existence of a new business. Entrepreneurs may lack experience, and there may be a shortage of resources. Therefore, target for a new business may be simply to survive in the first 12 months. A business might also struggle to survive if new competitors enter the market. If the new entrants have better or cheaper products or more financial resources, entrepreneurs may need to focus on survival in the changed business environment at the expense of other objectives. So, survival could be one objective for new businesses. Also, when the business faces some external factors, external influences, problems, again, their objective could be survival. Say, for example, when there is a recession, it is quite difficult for businesses to earn huge profit. So maybe that time they will prioritize on survival. Rather than closing down the business, somehow they have to survive in the market. Consequently, if a new business enter the market and if the competitor is strong, in that case also the business objective could be survival. Moving on to the next example, profit maximization. Now, this would be some of the common objectives of businesses. Some businesses focus on profit more aggressively, usually because the owners want to make as much profit as they possibly can. This is known as profit maximization. If entrepreneurs want to maximize profit, they will focus on keep costs as low as possible while raising prices as high as they can before customer loyalty is damaged. So for businesses having a good customer loyalty, they can set a business objective as profit maximization. Say, for example, increase in the profit 30% by the end of 2022. That could be an objective set by a business who is already established. Now, how to achieve that? All the strategies they can prepare by setting up this business objective. Maybe they'll focus on reducing the cost, or maybe to increase the price. Since they have a good customer loyalty, they can do or they can increase the prices without affecting their demand. Skim price is often used. Skim price is a strategy, it is a pricing strategy you might have already learned in grade 10. This is done for mostly established businesses, or if they have a good customer loyalty. While launching a new product, they can set the prices high. So when they set the prices high, they can generate more profit. And this could be a strategy used if the objective is profit maximization. This strategy is usually used in the luxury goods, for instance, jewelry and designer clothes. The prices are set unnaturally high as customers for these goods are wealthy and not price sensitive. So they do not object such excessive values. So as we can see, a lot of examples where the brand value is very high. For example, Apple, when they launch their new product, you can see the prices are very high, and slowly later on the prices will keep decreasing. So at the initial stage itself, they can generate a huge profit and they can cover all the costs that they have spent for their research and development, and they can add up their profit. One criticism of this approach is that it is too short term. By focusing aggressively on maximizing short term profits, it is possible that more lucrative long term opportunities are overlooked. Some businesses focusing only on profit maximization might lose their focus on other objectives. Sometimes some long term objectives might be forgotten when they focus only on profit maximization. Profit maximization is an objective. Profit maximization as an objective might also damage relationship with other stakeholders such as employees and customers. High profits often mean lower wages for employees and high prices for customers. So in the long run, it can damage the relationship with other stakeholders, say for example customers. by charging higher prices, customers won't be happy with that because they always prefer to have products at an affordable price. Another stakeholder could be the employees. In order to make higher profits, the business might give lower wages and salaries for the employees. Now, this could also be a problem with the stakeholder. It could lead to a stakeholder conflict. Another stakeholder that could affect is the supplier. In order to cut down the cost, the business might negotiate more to provide the materials at a lower cost. So this would have another stakeholder conflict. So all these conflicts would affect their long-term objectives. Some other objectives set by the businesses usually are sales maximization. That means increase in the sales by volume or by value. Some entrepreneurs might try to increase sales as an objective. This is called sales maximization. It involves a business selling as much it possibly can in a particular period of time. Sales maximization might be used by an entrepreneur to win a large market share. As a business grows, specialist sales staff might be employed. If the pay of sales staff is linked to physical sales levels, a business is likely to pursue sales maximization as sales staff try to maximize their earnings. So in order to maximize the sales, usually what businesses do is they will offer an incentive to the salesperson. If a particular salesperson is appointed, the business will offer a sales incentive. If the salesperson achieves a certain target, then the incentive will be provided to the sales staff. So in this case, the sales staff will be motivated to increase the sales of the business, and finally the business can achieve the objective of sales maximization. Now this can lead to an increase in the market share of the business. Another objective could be to increase just market share. If a business can get a large market share, this could help to increase revenue and raise the profile of the business in the market. By increasing the market share, a business can become the market leader. Say for example, Samsung phones. We can say they are the market leaders in mobile phone industry. If a business can make a bigger market share than its rivals, it may be able to dominate the market. A larger market share also means that output levels will be higher, so a business might be able to lower its cost. This will increase profit margins and generate more profit for the owners. So if the market share is high, even though it doesn't guarantee higher profits, it's likely that the business can generate more sales. And if they can lower the cost, then obviously the profit margin will be higher. Another objective could be cost efficiency. You might have noticed in some very competitive markets, there are businesses who have some objectives like cost efficiency. That means they'll try to reduce their cost as much as possible and they'll try to sell their products at a lower price. So this itself is a unique selling point for certain businesses, and this can be an objective if the market is very competitive. It is an objective that might persuade when trading conditions become difficult due to more competition or an economic downturn. Let's take the example of mobile phone industry. There are certain brands that sell phones at a lower price with many features that a high-end Samsung phone could offer. So this is because of their cost efficiency. Or if you take airline industry, some airlines such as SpiceJet or Indigo or Ryanair, these airline companies, they offer airline tickets at a lower price than compared to Emirates and Qatar Airways or any such luxury brands. So how is this possible? This is possible by reducing the cost. So their objective might be to reduce the cost and therefore they can offer their products at a lower price and can still attract many customers. If costs are lower, profit margins will be higher. Business with lower costs might also gain competitive edge in the market. A business can use a variety of methods to cut cost. Now let's move on to the methods that can be used in order to cut the cost. Lay off staff to cut labor cost. Find new suppliers to get cheaper resources, maybe a supplier from another country. This could reduce the cost. Increase the usage of recycled materials. If they can use recycled materials, the cost of raw material can be reduced in the long run. Develop new working practices that use fewer resources, maybe avoiding the wastage of resources by installing the latest machineries. Develop ways of saving energy. There are many energy saving methods of production nowadays. So if the business could install such methodologies, they can reduce the cost. One of the drawbacks of cutting cost is that the product quality or customer service may suffer. For example, if a cafe cuts down on staff to reduce cost, customers might get fed up waiting for their food and go somewhere else. So if we lay off the staff in order to cut down the cost, maybe the service given to the customers might be affected. In that case, customer satisfaction may not be achieved. So in the long run, it will affect the business. Employee welfare could be another objective of businesses. If employees' welfare is improved, employees will be happier, better motivated, more productive, more cooperative, more flexible, and less likely to leave. So they can reduce the labor turnover. In that case, they can get the best from the employees, which would improve the customer satisfaction. Improving employee welfare is also likely to reduce staff absenteeism through sickness, enhance the image of the business, help to comply with health and safety legislation, and make it easier to recruit and retain good quality people. A number of measures can be taken to achieve this. Improve the working environment by making it cleaner, less noisy, and crowded. So providing better working environment for the employees could improve the employee welfare. Ensuring that staff are given proper breaks and somewhere comfortable to interact with colleagues during breaks. Ensuring that staff are equipped with necessary tools and equipment, providing ergonomically designed chairs for call centers working, for example. So the business have to ensure that staffs are provided with good quality equipments or tools. And so, for example, ergonomically designed chairs for workers in call centers. Say, for example, call centers, usually the employees have to sit and work for a longer working hours, say, for example, 8 to 12 hours. So in that case, they have to be provided with comfortable sitting position, a good, well-designed chairs. So in this case, the staff will be motivated, and thus they can achieve the objective of employee welfare. Maintaining high standards of courtesy between all staff members. So they have to maintain a good courtesy between all the staff members. They should have the respect to the staff members, and a good culture has to be created in the working place. Encouraging regular exercise by organizing fitness sessions or providing a staff gym. Now this could further motivate employees. Some organizations are providing this too. Customer satisfaction could be yet another objective of businesses. If customers are satisfied, they are more likely to return. Loyal customers are valuable to business. In order to win their loyalty, some businesses aim to exceed customer expectations. Now let's see how the businesses would achieve the customer satisfaction. Ensure that all customers facing staff are trained to be very high level in communication. Their conduct must be polite, professional and friendly. So business ensures that all the customer facing staff, usually sales staff, they are well trained and they have a good level of communication and they are friendly, polite and professional. Provide a platform for customer feedback, for example, an online review system, so that we can collect the feedback from the customer, and if there is a room for improvement, then that can be done. Interact with customers using social media, encourage a two-way flow of information. So when interacting with customers, we can identify when there is a flow or is there any area to improve. Deal with customer complaints promptly and effectively to the evident satisfaction of customers. Now it is very important to satisfy the customers by dealing with the complaints properly. Even if there is a customer complaint, if it is dealt promptly, then the customers will be satisfied and be loyal towards the business. Yet another objective would be social objectives. A business that sets social objective is one that shows concern for the local area. A business should aim to promote prosperity and develop a strong relationship with local community so it can coexist. This might involve keeping noise level down, demonstrating responsibility to the environment by minimizing pollution, providing employment for local people, making contributions to community life such as visiting local schools, sponsoring local events, or making donations to local charities. So there are some businesses whose objective is a social objective. That means they have a social, they prove their social responsibility by doing certain measures such as keeping noise levels down or demonstrating responsibility to the environment by minimizing the pollution level. If we take some example, as I told you in the previous video, Coffee Bean is a business. What they do is they collect the coffee waste and make energy which is useful, and they reduce the coffee waste and therefore they protect the environment. So they shows their social responsibility by minimizing the wastages. So that could be a business having a social objective. And yet another example, if we take Parley and Adidas, they are cleaning up the oceans and collecting the waste from the ocean, and they design new jerseys and shoes made up of ocean waste. So these are some examples of social objectives. So that's the end of this session. Thank you and have a nice day.